Yo, what's up guys? I'm going to be doing a video that's a little different today. It's going to be a normal redstone contraption and not anything computational. So first I just want to give it a little demo. So it's a machine that you can give it a pulse. You say 1 Mississippi, and then what you can do is you can recreate that pulse. So then I first have to load it, and you kind of have to wait a little bit for it to load. Once it's loaded, I can actually recreate the pulse. And so then ready, 1 Mississippi, and then brings it back. And once you've recreated it, you can load and recreate it again, or you can reset it, and so then you can choose a new pulse to recreate. So you've seen what it does, but how does it really work? So it all started when I had an idea of making some sort of device that I can give a pulse to. It can save that pulse and then recreate that pulse whenever I wanted. And the first thing that came to my mind was using hopper minecarts to store the items to gauge the amount of time the pulse was. And let me explain. And to explain why specifically hopper minecarts, one, they can be moved, which you cannot actually move hoppers unless you have some sort of special mod involved, but also because they can pick up items very quickly. So we have a full hopper right here, and if I were to place the hopper below it, we can see it is pretty slowly filling up. But if we were to place a hopper minecart under a hopper, we notice it picks up items a lot faster. And so this way I could actually get a more accurate gauge for the length of my pulse by using the number of items that it picked up. So there was a major difference between the hopper minecart and the hopper. So my first thought is, okay, well, how am I going to fill up the hopper minecart? And this was a pretty easy thing to solve, where I have a hopper minecart up here, I have a powered rail, and then I have a piston below it to push the block up, which pushes the hopper minecart down under this hopper, which is full of just dirt. I just pick any block. And so then it waits, and then whenever you turn the pulse off, it pushes the hopper minecart back. So if I were to flick this for, I don't know, 1 Mississippi, and then come back, we have 30 items in there. So that's our time for this that pulse I gave, that 1 second pulse. And the wiring for that's pretty simple. It is just the redstone goes into this block right here, which then powers the powered rail, and then also powers this piston here to push up the block and push the minecart. But then it also inverts the signal, comes over here, and it's the same circuit but on this side. So we have a piston under here, and we have a powered rail. So whenever I turn it on, this stuff turns off, so it doesn't push the hopper minecart back. And then whenever I want to turn off the pulse, I turn it back off, and this activates and pushes it up there. Now next was the reset, which was slightly harder than the pulse. What I had to do was I had to push this this piston with the block to move the hopper minecart and the rail over to this block, and then the signal would come down under here and then up here, and then activate this piston. And because it was a observer pulse, it would drop its block. And so what this would do is this would then turn off this powered rail and push down this piston, so it wouldn't push the hopper minecart back. And then it would also come over here and push the piston up and activate the rail, which would be there after the piston pushes it over. And then it comes around here, rests on this powered rail, which is now unpowered, and there's a comparator reading the hopper below it. So whenever the hopper is completely full, it sends this pulse, which then sends the retracts the piston, and then this turns everything off. This turns this back on, which then sends it back. And then there's a line of repeaters, which is just timing before it pushes the hopper minecart back. So I've kind of just been vaguely explaining this. Let's see it in action. So if I reset, it pushes it over, brings it around, it rests on this block, and it is emptying its items in there. So because hoppers are slower than hopper minecarts, it's going to take a little longer to deload, but then it pushes it back and then pushes it back over to the main line. So that's kind of how the reset process works. The hopper is now empty. If I can get down here, the main hopper, and the hopper minecart is empty. And if I can get down here, the main hopper is completely full. So let's get another pulse. So 1 Mississippi, and then bring it back. We have 40 items in here. Now, my next thought was, how am I going to be able to recreate a pulse? And I realized I kind of have to do this in 2 steps. So my first step is load, which then just pushes the hopper minecart with the rail over here. And then it does basically the same thing where it pushes up this block, powers the rail, but it does one thing. It activates this circuit, which swaps the rail out. So then it retracts this rail and pushes this rail out. So then this rail bends that way and moves it to that hopper. And then it stops on the powered rail, and we wait for it to unload. So let's do our load. We see it swaps, brings it up there, and stops right there. And so then it's slowly unloading. So then after the items are loaded into the hopper minecart, the pulse is sent. So I send the recreate pulse. It extends this piston, drops its block, and then powers this repeater here, which then goes down. It powers this rail and pushes up this piston, which then pushes the hopper minecart to the bottom. Once at the bottom, it will start taking items out at the exact same time here. This timer, this long repeater timer, will have run out and unlocks this comparator, allowing it to output the pulse. And so then once the items are out of the hopper, the pulse will turn off, and then it will activate, if I go down here, it will activate a piston with an observer, which basically just sends it back. So it does a little block swap down here. So if I can get under here. So normally there is a piston here which pushes this block up to move it down in the first place. I realize this doesn't work. My best guess is because it's actually a transparent block, so it doesn't have the property of being able to push a hopper minecart. So I have to quickly swap it out for a normal block, push it, and then swap it back. And so then once it pushes the hopper minecart, it changes this track here, which then just moves it over here. So then the hopper minecart will actually go over here, up and over everything, run to this block, fall down on here, and then the piston will be activated and push it back to its original spot. So let's recreate the pulse, and it should reach the bottom, 1 Mississippi, and then turns off, and then comes around, give it a sec, comes up here, and it's back in its original spot. And then if we want, we can reset it, so we can move it around here, back on this block, and it is slowly emptying its blocks. And there we go. So this is our working pulse recreator, I guess. So you can give it a pulse, it remembers it, you can reset the pulse to pick a new pulse, or you can recreate it by first loading in the items to the test hopper and then recreating it, and it also sends it back to its original spot. So that is my little contraption I was working on. I know it's not any redstone computer, but I thought it was just cool to go back to do some normal, traditional redstone. So let me know if you want to see just other normal redstone contraptions, not necessarily computers, and maybe I'll make a few more on the side. But that's about it. Peace.